Thank you and good afternoon. Today we're going to give you tips, procrastinating, and then we'll play a video. Here's some short tips. Practice self-compassion. Go for a walk. If you're having a hard time with procrastination, practice self-compassion. Go for a walk outside in the nature. Pair dreaded task with something you enjoy. Manage your to-do list. Don't try to do too much. Practice self-care. Reward yourself for working. Do other things like go get some chocolate. Go get some ice cream. Seek professional help such as psychologist or counselor. Now here's the video.
And you need to put yourself into a more painful, not less painful state. So what do? You push up against that friction and you exercise for a short while, and then that pops you out of that trough. That's possible, but for a lot of people, even that won't be possible because they just can't get motivated, or they do that 1 minute or 5 minutes and then they're just like, okay, I'm still in the trough. I'm not actually feeling that great. In those circumstances, it makes sense to do something that's tangential to the whole path that you're trying to pursue, this goal that you're trying to pursue. That is, believe it or not, much worse than just being amotivated. And when I say worse, I don't mean picking some task that normally you don't like to do, but now you're willing to do. I mean, literally thinking about what would be worse than being in this state. Again, without causing yourself tissue or psychological damage. What would be worse? Well, cold water would be worse for many people, very cold water. So the key is to figure out something that, for lack of a better way to put it, really sucks, and yet is safe. And by doing that, you steepen the trough, you steepen the slope of the trough, which we know brings you back to your baseline level of dopamine more quickly. Now, for some people, that will be deliberate cold exposure through cold shower, ice bath. And I have to tell you that if you're cringing as I say this, well, then there you go. You now have a tool that you know you cringe even when you just think about, and therefore represents a great tool for you. So if I'm procrastinating to do something I really need to do, should I just simply wait for that procrastination to evaporate? No. Will it eventually evaporate? Maybe. Will a deadline eventually surface that will trigger me into an anxious or activated state that will allow me to complete what needs to be done? Maybe. Hopefully. But better would be to get out of that amotivated state, that state of procrastination, quickly.
My name is Amy Eisenberg. My inspiration comes from dogs and doodles and line work. I describe my work abstract and also with the dogs realistic. I've been doing abstract flowers lately with vases, and I've been doing line work. I used to do beads and necklaces, and I'm starting to do it again, and I'm making my own line. Right now I'm making my handmade beads, and I'm putting them on a string and making a bracelet. The Virtually Artist program gave me the ability to create when I can't do it on my own. It's where people with disabilities can go and express themselves. My favorite part is getting to know the people and being excited to paint every week with them.
Let's go over Clemson and Arizona first. Clemson's P.J. Hall will be a player to watch out for. And Caleb Love, Arizona 8.1. Clemson beat number 3 Baylor last weekend in the 32. Time is at 6:09. Arizona favored by 7.5. I think it'll be closer. This is North Carolina, Alabama. Players to watch out for: Terrence Shannon, who is third in the nation in scoring, 23.3, and Kayshawn Gilbert for ISU, 13.7. This will be a good game. It'll be on True TV. We'll see who comes out on top. UConn will play San Diego State. UConn, like many predicted, would win the national championship, and they have had a good season. They have the most dominant players and dominant team. Watch out for player for San Diego State, Jordan Lee, 21.5. San Diego State, Tristan Knutson for the Huskies, last year's averages 15.3. This was last year's national championship where UConn came out big. UConn is favored by 9.5. Game time is at 6:30. Play the winner of Illinois and Iowa State. This will be one hell of a matchup. Illinois' player to watch out for, Terrence Shannon, who averages 23.3 and good for third in the nation. Iowa State, Keyshawn Gilbert averages about 14. Game time 9:09. Iowa State is favored by 1.5. Opening day, folks. The Royals will play the Twins to start off the season. Let's get to them. Twins and Royals, 3-10. Cole Ravens gets the start. He's the best pitcher since James Shields has started on opening day, most people think. Pablo Lopez will go for the Twins. Game time, 3:10. It'll be the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox as well. 3:10. Tyler Squabble will go for the Tigers. Garrett Crouch will go for the Sox. Again, game time 3:10. And for the Cardinals and Dodgers, of course, we have player star Shohei Ohtani on betting. More in on that later this week or later next week. Game time 3:10. It'll be the Cubs and the Rangers. Justin Steele will go for the Cubs, and Nathan Alvarez will go for the Rangers. Game time 6:35 on ESPN. That's Sam Von Sports on Baseball. Who do you think's got the best shot in the Big 12 to win it all? Iowa State or Houston? Houston. Yes.
I would say actually Iowa State, because Houston has to struggle offensively sometimes. And at some points you got to score.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I like the players having some control over where they go and stuff, but it feels like there's not the willingness to just work where you're at and just beat out the guy who's in front of you. But that's only from my perspective. I can't understand it from a player's perspective because they've got to consider NIL and trying to give themselves the best chance to get to the next level. So I don't necessarily like it, but I understand it because I want the players to be able to be more in control as opposed to the coaches who used to be able to control everything.
I guess I feel like if we're gonna pay him, then let's pay him by giving him contracts and whatever. And the same goes for, because if you go through a hard situation, you can just get out easy and transfer to another school. But yet you chose to go to the university.
And hardship transfers are different, but with the NIL and schools are using NIL to recruit kids. So I understand it from the business perspective of the business. They're trying to maximize their earnings while they're in college. So